Lovely build-up play once again. Tell you what, this grass is so nice. You can eat. Save! They break quickly. Lovely build-up play once again. The 1, the 2, and the shot! It's hit the post! Can you believe it? Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. All good? A beautiful Jubilee Stadium is a fitting venue for this clash between two iconic New South Wales football clubs, two foundation members of the Australia Championship. But before we can look ahead to a new era of Australian football, there's still plenty of season 2025 to be played, and both these teams, whose aspirations will be silverware, will be looking to make a move into the top six in this competition. Of course, they met 3 days ago in the Australia Cup, and if this game is even half as entertaining as that one, we are in for a treat. 3-3, 10-9 on penalties. Sydney United coming out on top. It's our round 14 match of the round between Sydney Olympic and Sydney United. When you think New South Wales, when you think the NPL, you think of these two powerhouses who've had a mixed start to season 2025, both by their high expectations. I'm going to run through the lineups very, very quickly. Two changes for Sydney Olympic to the team that went down 4-0 to Rockdale last Sunday. In between the sticks, as always, Jack Gibson. Ziggy Gordon is the number 5. Cyrus Demi continued his good form with another goal in the Australia Cup. That's now double digits for him in all competitions. Jack Armson is 10. Adam Parkhouse is number 11. Zach Zoricic is number 12. Seth Clark is in 14. Into the team, Bailey Callahan. Joshua Hong is 17. 10 Kuo. And the second of those two changes in number 19 is Gianni Di Pizio. Two changes for Sydney United as well as they cruise to a 2-0 win over the Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Tristan Prendergast, who slotted a penalty in that shootout. He's in between the sticks. Bailey Rule is number 3. Mr. Skip, Adrian Vastelitza. Into the side, Anthony Tomalich in number 5. The goal-scoring machine, Patrick Antelmi, is number 9. Carlos de Oliveira is 10. Matty Hatch is number 11. Michael Glassick, the former Sydney Olympic man, is 17. Into the side, Aidan Milicevic in 19. Mason Wells is in 23. And Lightning, Leroy Jennings is in number 32. And lightning is a fitting word because just as I said that, the rain started to come down here in Kogarah. Eric Saba is your referee, and it's going to be Sydney United to get us underway in their iconic red and white. Sydney Olympic in their equally iconic blue and white. These teams meet for the second time in just a few days in our match of the round. Week 14 in New South Wales. It's already feeling like must-win territory for Sydney Olympic. They are going to make finals football for the first time since they were the premiers of this competition back in 2022. Big expectations comes with a big fan base, which is the case for Sydney Olympic, but it also is the case when you spend the cash, which they did in the off-season. So far, though, their form line reads 4 wins, 4 draws, and 4 losses. Of course, they have a make-up game, which will be played against the Central Coast Mariners. Their new home here at Jubilee Stadium. It'll also be their home for the Australia Championship as well. So exciting times for both of these teams. Two foundation clubs in that competition go head-to-head for the second time in a week. And let's hope that we don't get literal rain, but we get raining goals, just like we did midweek at Adenza Park. Sydney Olympic looking for revenge. They're going long straight away. Here is Cyrus Demi, 10 goals this season if you include his 5 in the league and 5 in the Australia Cup. He's the adopted Greek. Ziggy Gordon, 10 Kuo. Sitting in at centre-back today, Teng sometimes could be a victim of his own versatility. He can play up front, he can play out on the wing. But it looks like he's going to be slotting next to Ziggy Gordon. That is a great mix of youth and experience there, that centre-back partnership. Got their hands full against Patrick Antelmi today. And an early foul and a chance for Sydney United to get out of their own half. Crazy game midweek. If you're at that game or you're following along the socials, but if you weren't, Sydney United went 2-0 up. Olympic pulled them back to send it to extra time with the scores at 2-2. And they looked like they'd won it when they scored in the 115th minute. Cross in for Patrick Antelmi. He's got 6 goals this season. And Leroy Jennings' goal sent it to penalties, and as I mentioned, a crazy penalty shootout. We went all the way down to goalkeepers. Inevitably, Jack Gibson missing the crucial penalty. He'll be looking to make amends. United looking to burst forward here. There'll be a chance for a cross if they can find it. They get the second best option, which is a corner. It's going to be Mason Wells go over and take it. He's had a fantastic start to life at his new club. Made the move over from the Bulls. He's been in goal-scoring form as well. He's got 5 goals this season. He's going to take this corner, though. Just floated in. Perfect ball. Half shouts at handball. Eric Sabo was perfectly placed. And he wasn't having any of that. Both these teams making 2 changes, rotating their squads. Fixtures have been coming thick and fast for both these teams. Both would have loved an Australia Cup run, of course. Sydney United with one of, if not the most memorable, making it all the way to the final a few years ago, and Sydney Olympic once, round of 32, twice have made it to the round of 16, but knocked out by their opponents today. It's very rare in football you get a chance at revenge straight away. Here's Kuol, lifts it long, looking for Seth Clark, who managed to flick it on, and I commentated their game last week against Rockdale, and I have to say the scoreline maybe didn't do the game justice. Olympic had a couple big chances in that game. Cyrus Demi and Teng Kuol both having chances, and if those goals or those chances had gone in, who knows? Maybe it would have been a different game. And Rockdale, if you don't take your chances against them, the team that has Alek Guldushevsky and the firepower that they have is going to punish you, and that's exactly what happened. And the game got away from Sydney Olympic, just like it did against Manly as well. Here they are with a chance to break. Long switch looking for Parkhouse, and it's intercepted. Here's Tomilic now as lovely ball ahead. And it's Teng Kuol getting back there. We've seen him in this competition do his thing for the Western Sydney Wanderers as well. That's where he made the move over from and has settled in very nicely into life at Belmore, or should I say Cogranell. I remember speaking to Teng's former manager Andrew Christensen, and he said it's such a blessing to be able to have a player that's so versatile. Play him up front one game, play him on the wing, which is what Olympic did last week, and then slot him in at centre back. It's DiPizio in midfield. Another one of these exciting youngsters playing for Olympic, of course. That man that just flicked the ball in there, Cyrus Demi filling in for Roy O'Donovan. He leaves a huge hole, probably an irreplaceable hole, but tell you what, this man on the ball is doing a great job. Big shoes to fill, big jersey to fill. He's done well so far. Here is Kuol. There's Clark, the Kiwi, who made the move over from the northern NPL side, the Edgeworth Eagles. Urge to burst forward. Here we go. Chance for Olympic. Hong is bursting forward. Can he find the cross? Still with Hong. He holds it up. Hong. Things are not over yet for Sydney United. Olympic maybe just slightly overdoing it on the ball. Here's Antelmi. Plays it out wide to Wells. He's capable of scoring from anywhere, as we've seen this season. Cuts inside on that left boot. Finds Antelmi. A little bit of a slow start by his standards, but he's on fire now, as is this man, Leroy Jennings. What can the Fijian international do? He's got Hatch making the overlapping run. He goes himself and then runs into a blue and white brick wall. Falls back out now. Rule finds Wells, floats it into the back post, and it goes over everyone's head and out for a goal kick. Sydney United come into this game. A chance to jump into the top 6 with a win here. They would leapfrog Manly. It's pretty impressive when you consider the alarming start they made. Only one win in their opening 4 games. A couple heavy, surprising defeats, mainly to Sydney FC, Central Coast Mariners as well. Early signs were worrying for these very passionate Sydney United 58 fans, but they managed to steady the ship. Very similar to the start they made last season as well, and of course, we all know what they did. They turned it around and ended up causing a huge upset, knocking the then defending champions Apia out in their own backyard. Here's Clark though. Clark closed down by De Oliveira. The bouncing ball loops over Milicevic there. Zoricic going up against Rule, and Bailey Rule does well to earn his team a free kick. But I want to talk about similar starts to the season patterns. United, one win in their opening 7 games. They opened up last season with one win in their opening 4. Of course, these teams met twice last year. Sydney Olympic won them both. Crazy game, one of the craziest results of the season when they beat their opponents today by 6 goals to 0. And that was, as I mentioned, in the midst of that poor start to the season for Sydney United last season. And fans, rightfully so, were not happy, but the team managed to turn it around. And an even slower start to this season, but once again, it looks like Sydney United have turned it around and knocking on the door of the top 6. And like we've seen so many years with finals football in this competition, as long as you get in there, that's the main thing, and you can win it from anywhere. This game's just hanging in the balance at the moment. Olympic, those passionate fans, a lot of them Greek Australians, will be wanting a win today. Rough couple of weeks for them, heavy defeats to Manly and Rockdale. 2 teams that are currently in the top 6, and then of course that midweek exit in the Australia Cup to their opponents today, and then you add insult to injury, that 3-point deduction that they received for a compliance breach has them lingering way too close for their own liking to the relegation zone. But a win today will go a long way into kick-starting their season again. Big expectations, as there always is with this proud, iconic Australian football club, 3 times champions of this competition. Most recently in 2018, of course, these teams met in a grand final, played in front of over 10,000 people back in 2011. And with second division just around the corner, scenes like we saw that day at Leichhardt Oval 14 years ago could be back on the horizon, not only in New South Wales, but all across Australia. Sydney United drawing nearly a foe, Apia, in their group in the second division, and Sydney Olympic getting a beautiful Greek derby against South Melbourne. Lovely build-up play here. Can they find the cross? Cyrus Demi's ventured into the box, but it's behind him and it falls straight to lightning Leroy Jennings. What can the Fijian flyer do here? He wins his team a free kick. Expertly done there by the Fijian international. Tried to get around Joshua Hong, and he got the next best outcome, which is a free kick for his team. Hatch takes quickly. Go for the switch, looking for Leroy Jennings, who he's coming back from an offside position. I was just about to say he's fouled by Hong for the second time in a matter of seconds, but Lightning Leroy was offside. Looks like it'll be a battle on those wings today. Hong got a big job trying to contain Jennings, and of course the flip side to that is Parkhouse going up against Bailey Rule. And no doubt the two centre-backs, the new centre-back partnership of Qual and Ziggy Gordon, going to have their hands full with Patrick Antelmi today. Dottie Gridich and Dylan Ruiz Diaz both dropped to the bench for Sydney Olympic. If you missed the start of the game, both these teams making two changes. Meeting for the second time in 3 days. Misplaced pass. Cyrus Demi bursting forward now. Chance for Olympic to make the perfect start. Seth Clark, he scored midweek. Can he do it again? Block shot by Vastalitsa. With a space out wide for Zoricic. Wells is back there defending, as is 9 players for Sydney United. Patient build-up play by Olympic. And that one just fizzled out a little bit, so it was on. Half chance for Sydney Olympic. There's been a couple of those. Looping throw, looking for Demi. Still there for Olympic if they can find the shot. Vastalitsa with the block once again, and Prendergast did well to stop that one for going out for a corner. Good start from the home team. Of course, a reminder, every single game of 2025 season, live and free on the Football New South Wales YouTube. So here is De Oliveira bursting forward, and Ten Qual does well to get a foot in, but it falls straight to Leroy Jennings, and he curls that one straight into Jack Gibson. For half a second there, it looked like it might have curled into the top corner, which would have been very unlucky because Qual did brilliantly to get back there. The Swiss Army knife, but the tackle fell straight to Leroy Jennings. Good response from Sydney United 58 as they look to jump into the top 6 with a win here this afternoon. Go long this time, Zoricic. Always plenty of energy with the left back bursting forward now is Callahan. United did well to get back there. Benny Callahan, the ex-Sydney FC youth product, was bursting forward, and key tackle there. Vastalitsa. Talk about iconic players of this generation for Sydney United. He is one of, if not the most iconic. Milicevic looking for the switch out wide. Lovely overlapping play. Beautiful football by Sydney United. Patient build-up once again. Urge to shoot. Cuts in on his right foot. It's Wells looking to get back onto his left foot. He does get the shot away, and it's flashed over the bar. Sydney United's best chance of the game so far. It was a beautiful build-up. And thankfully for Jack Gibson, who was rooted to the grass here, Jubilee Stadium, that one goes over the bar, and looks like it's going to be Sydney Olympic making an early change. Thomas Whiffen getting ready to come on, so that is not what Sydney Olympic want to see, an early change. Thomas Whiffen coming on, and it's Zach Zoricic coming off. Super unlucky stuff there for the Sydney Olympic left back. Always plays with plenty of energy, bursting up and down the wing, and they're going to have to navigate the next 70 minutes or 75 minutes of this game without their left back. Sydney Olympic Thomas Whiffen now thrown into the action early. He made a move to Sydney Olympic, a new signing this season. playing over in the Czech Republic. He's a chance now to make an impact for his new team, and they're on the back foot once again. Jennings. Whiffen's going to be thrown into the action straight away because they're going down his side, and they have a little bit of space for the crossfire, and tell me it falls, and what a save! Jack Gibson tips it over the bar, and Sydney United cannot believe that they haven't opened the scoring here at Jubilee. Beautiful football. Down that right-hand side, and poor old Thomas Whiffen, who's just been thrown on, has just been fed to the wolves there. Scintillating play down that right-hand side, and somehow tipped over the bar by Jack Gibson. Corner here for United. Looping to the back post, it's a good ball. United, half-hearted shouts at handball. Waved away by Eric Saba and a Sydney Olympic fan, or their manager. Needs to catch your breath because Lions at pause right now. Early injury to Zach Zoricic, forcing them to make a change inside 20 minutes, and then United goes straight down that side, and it nearly produces the opening goal. De Oliveira brings it out wide to Wells. Lapping run once again. He goes himself. It's a beautiful hit. Just goes over the bar, and Sydney United are really turning the screws here now. Olympic had a decent start, just need to compose themselves a little bit. Two close calls within a minute for the away team. Looking. One up on the fellow Second Division Foundation member for the second time in a few days. Here's Callahan going up against Hatch. Done there, great tackle, Matty Hatch. An exciting fullback in this competition. Hong to take the throw. Sydney Olympic just looking to get back into this game. They want to do it straight away. Not that time. It was Jack Armson trying to get his shot through a sea of red. Jack Armson does have a knack for goals. He was integral in RPA's 2023 championship winning team. Also last season, they attempted to defend their title. He got double-digit goals in both seasons from midfield. And the feeling the Olympic are going to win today. Their number 10 is going to play a big part. Here's Demi looking for some room. That time he's trying to get through Glassick. Up against his former team, of course. Michael Glassick, part of that 2022 Premiership winning team, as was Adam Parkhouse. Michael Vakis was as well. He's on the bench today. He's been a consistent target from the throw, and Mr. Litzer sent that one out for a corner despite a very acrobatic effort from Matt Hatch. Chance for Sydney Olympic. Get the opening goal. They've weathered the storm. Two good chances, Sydney United. How do the home team respond? It's Parkhouse's corner. Prendergast gets up there. It's off the crossbar. Will it be tapped in? It's still there for Sydney Olympic. Back out to Parkhouse. Can he find the cross? He gets past Jennings. Manages to keep it in. Parkhouse looking for Demi, and his looping header hits the roof of the goal. But a good response from Sydney Olympic draws an applause from the home fans. Very nearly breaking the deadlock here. Their best, or the closest they've come. Scoring the opening goal. Hong, who's the season in and out of the starting 11s, really making a home for himself on the right side of that back four. Clark tries to get around Tomalich, does well to win the free kick there, and I have a feeling Saba's going to dust off that card book. He dish out a yellow card for Anthony Tomilic. Into the team, one of two changes, and he's into Eric Sava's book. Good response here from the home team. To end a tough couple of weeks for them, back-to-back defeats. And of course that cup defeat. Looking for revenge. Armson dinks it in. Headed away by Vastelitsa. Jennings looking for a way out. Asks Matty Hatch for help. Straight to DiPizio. Armson turns, looks out wide. There's Seth Clark. He's been good early, and the second time in about 30 seconds, the little Kiwi wins his team a free kick. Jennings was arguing the case. He's going to have to turn around quickly. No, says Eric Saba. Puts a stop to that. Calls play back. Half of the first half has been played here at Jubilee. Now round 14, match of the round. Very entertaining opening to this game. A tough act to follow their midweek Australia Cup game, which had 6 goals, 10-9 penalty shootout. It's been a good start to this game. Both teams with chances to break the deadlock, but it remains goalless. Armson's free kick goes over the head of everyone, and Bassett just goes safety first and sends it out for a corner. A good 5 or 6 minute spell here for the home team. Sustained pressure, and it's going to be Jack Armson. He takes the corner. Clark, he's looked likely. There's some space on the edge of the box. Seth Clark! The little Kiwi magician gets the opening goal for Sydney Olympic. I said he's looked more likely. An Olympic who needed to make a good start to this game to kickstart their season. Get the opening goal, and it's Seth Clark with a beautiful curled finish. 1-0 Olympic. Seth Clark has looked likely, drawing fouls. Found a little bit of space on the edge of the box after a short corner from Jack Armson. Ante Juric, Sydney United manager, might just be a little bit upset with his team there, allowing Sydney Olympic to take the short corner so easily. And once Seth Clark got onto his right foot, he knew he was shooting. There was nothing Tristan Prendergast could do about that one. Seth Clark does what he did midweek in the Australia Cup, and that is score against Sydney United. He'll be hoping, so will all Sydney Olympic fans, that he can do better and get the win. It falls to Cyrus Demi. Bailey Callahan, does he have space for the shot? He cuts back in. Lovely work from Bailey Callahan, and Sydney Olympic, just like that, go up 2-0. Bailey Callahan into the team, and he rewards his manager's faith with a beautiful, composed finish. Held his nerve to cut back in. Sent the defender sliding, and there was nothing the goalkeeper could do about that one. 2-0 Sydney Olympic. The dream start just got even dreamier. Bailey Callahan. Jack Gibson urging his team. We keep going. We do not stop was the call. Sydney United are stunned. As am I watching. Because this game has just been flipped on its head. So it looked like Sydney United were turning the screws. Olympic started to wrestle back control. They get one, and as so often is the case in football, goals come in bunches. How do Sydney United respond? Parkhouse, happy to go long. You have to give a shout out to this man on the ball here. The right option, could have been selfish. So often strikers are, but gave it to his winger, Bailey Callahan, and big Bailey into the starting team. And I'll tell you what, he might cement a spot there. Seth Clark's been the best player on the field. Can he get another? I put the commentator's curse on him. He gives away the ball. He has been perfect. I'm sorry, Seth. United now, can they break? This game is turned into a game of tennis. It's end to end. Wells gets around Whiffen. Of course, he was thrown into the action, replacing Zach Zoricic after 15 minutes. Does just enough there to put off the cross, and it fizzes out for a throw. The Olympic. "28 minutes gone here at Jubilee." It's the home team. They had to win. They had to. Still plenty of football to be played, but I'm sure the chat after that Australia Cup exit would have been 3 points is a must, and a chance for Sydney United to get back in the game. Sydney United stunned. De Oliveira looping cross to the back post. Still there, headed away by Qual. Demi looking perfect tackle there by Rule, and it had to be. Was Milicevic offside? Touchy was the perfect position he was that time, and that's why he let it go out for a goal kick. And Sydney Olympic just, I beg your pardon, it took a touch. It went out for a corner. So Olympic having to defend another set piece here. Just about half an hour gone. Can Sydney United find a way back into this game? Header away. Good touch. It's De Oliveira who managed to get his shot through. That's easy pickings for Jack Gibson, who... Poor old Jack Gibson, the Olympic goalkeeper, was asked to take a penalty in that shootout. Denied. That was the deciding penalty. He, I'm sure, will have the biggest chip on his shoulder today, and so far, so good for the Sydney Olympic number one and their team as we approach the half-hour mark. Demi does brilliantly to pinch it there. Now he can break. He's got players to his left and his right. He goes himself. Goal kick, but that earns an applause from Sydney Olympics bench and supporters who are sitting in front of me. It might actually be some of their staff. I saw Connor O'Toole. He's one of them. Of course, he was one of the big signings this season. Fortunately for him, he picked up a knee injury. I wish Connor a speedy recovery. At this stage, it's two new signings who are the difference. Seth Clark. And Bailey Callahan's goals are the difference so far. Olympic making two changes. A big shift in this team, moving Tenquol to centre back. Seth Clark manages to find the pass for Parkhouse. Still got lightning pace, Adam Parkhouse. Can he find Cyrus Demi? He can, but Demi puts it over the bar, and that was a golden chance for Sydney Olympic to make it 3. And with the form that Cyrus Demi is in, you would have backed him to steer that one goalwards. But thankfully for Sydney United, it's a let-off. The score remains 2-0. Reminder to head over to our Instagram account where JD is putting on a social media masterclass, giving you guys behind-the-scenes access. He and the entire team, Henley, Sam Yeoman, they do a fantastic job. Joe Kay giving you the BTS treatment of every match of the round. And here we are, 32 minutes into round 14. It's Sydney Olympic looking for revenge. So they were knocked out by their opponents 3 days ago in the Australia Cup. Great tackle there by Whiffen. That will be a confidence booster for him. I don't think there's anything tougher than being thrown on as a first half sub, particularly as a fullback. Going up against Mason Wells in form. United dangerous down both wings. At this stage though, they're going to need some magic. from their usual suspects. So Demi's a great job just giving the back line headaches as well. He's pressing, he's not just sitting up top and waiting for the ball. He's making it happen. Here he is on the ball once again. Oliveira did well. Jennings thought he was fouled, and eventually the whistle goes. They might have taken it quickly. Tomilic. The space out on this left-hand side. They do go to Hatch. Has some pace, but getting back there is Bailey Callahan, who'd be full of confidence after his goal, and he's getting back and helping his team out. And United with a big job on their hands if they're to pull this one back. Ziggy Gordon, the ageless wonder, Seth Clark, magical once again, and he's bursting forward. He's got Demi in front of him. Here is Cyrus Demi. So close to a third, and it's no surprises. But the little magician, Seth Clark, pulling the strings once again. He is terrorising Sydney United at the moment. I think that you can tell me was offside. Yes, he was. 11 minutes to go in the first half here. If you're just joining us, good even start to this game. Both teams with chances to get the opening goal. It was Seth Clark, a beautiful curled effort which opened the scoring, and then shortly after, Bailey Callahan made it 2. The Olympic in Dreamland. Here is the scorer of the second goal as well, to earn a corner off Hatch. Sydney Olympic, this would have been the start that they dreamed of. They made their way to Cogra this Saturday afternoon. Into this game with a game in hand, 4 wins, 4 draws, and 4 losses, but coming off back-to-back heavy defeats. They needed 3 points today. In a good position to do just that. Here is Clark, cuts in on his right foot. Seth Clark! Everything he is touching is turning to gold at the moment, and he very nearly had a double, and it would have been even better than his first. Rule. He's fouled. Go down that right-hand side once again, and Qual gets back there to cut off Wells. Minutes to go. The Olympic will not be comfortable though. Definitely not. Just a 2-goal lead, particularly with the firepower that Sydney United have. They go long. Callahan is full of confidence. Sydney United do look dangerous though, particularly when they come down. Mason Wells, right-hand side. Jennings, lovely touch. Gets it back. Oliveira. Here's Tomilic. Did pick up an early yellow card. Here's Hatch. Milicevic. Bit of space here. Milicevic squares it up perfectly. Good chance. And a warning shot there from Sydney United. Carlos de Oliveira. Can't give him too much time and space like he did there. Put his head in his hand straight away. He knew a player of his quality should have done better with that one. And a warning shot fired there. Gibson, no rush to take this one. Why would he be? His team has made the perfect start to this match of the round. Demi bursting forward. Callahan out in front of him. Here is Bailey Callahan, scorer of the second. He finds the space for the shot. He can, but it took a big deflection. You're not over yet. United just have to send that one away. This game has ebbed and flowed. Olympic made the good start. There was a spell where United had them on the ropes. Olympic were forced into an early change with Zach Zoricic coming off, and then they managed to wrestle back control. Got one, got a second through this man. He's trying to find a cross. He would have been happy if that one went out for a corner because it looked like it took a deflection. Armson. Intercepted there. A chance now for Sydney United to break. Jennings bursting forward. Here he is. Up against Hong. The young Sydney Olympic defender did well to just put his body in front of Lightning Leroy that time. Hatch. There's Tomilic. Goal before half-time would flip this game on its head. Delicate ball. Beautiful if it will sit up. And goes out for a corner. So the next best outcome there for Sydney United. I mean, Mason Wells to take the corner. 6 minutes to go here at Jubilee, and Sydney United looking for a way back into the game. It's another great corner and a good low shot. And Ziggy Gordon with the key block off the line. I beg your pardon, it was Adam Parkhouse, the winger, getting back there. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for his block, I think Jack Gibson may have been in trouble. Still with Sydney United. Long ball that beats everyone. Another decent chance, very similar to Oliveira's chance a couple minutes ago. Seemed to have an age of time and space on the edge of the box, and it was Adam Parkhouse's key block. His team up by 2-0. Demi does well once again, holding the ball up. Clark, he has been pulling the strings. Parkhouse with a key block minutes ago, now looking to make an impact on the other side of the pitch, the one he's more familiar with. He's Ziggy Gordon. If I was a young centre-back, couldn't think of too many better centre-back partners to learn off than that man, Ziggy Gordon, with a host of professional experience. Played in the A-League, of course, so in Scotland. He's whiffing. Parkhouse. Can he find some space for the shot? He can, but he didn't get clean contact on it. And Prendergast is looking now to go short. He might eventually. The 6-second rule, we can all agree, as football fans, has gone extinct. Of course, in that Australia Cup game midweek, it was Sydney United who went up by 2-0. Olympic be looking for a third, and even just a fourth, just to put this game to bed. So we don't see the reverse of what happened on Wednesday night. Gordon. On. Jennings getting back there. That's been a good battle on this side, and you have to say the youngsters very well, not only containing Leroy Jennings, but also Matt Hatch, who loves making that overlapping run. So far, Joshua Hong's got one of the best heads of hair in this competition, doing well. Rick James-esque. Demi. Give us some space. Links up with Qual. And Qual. This looked like a shot. Ricocheted off Jack Armson. It's still with Olympic, and Olympic will love this. He's happy to sit on the ball and frustrate Sydney United here. Of course, Sydney United with a win will jump into the top 6. At this stage, it looks like they're going to have to wait another week or two for that. Olympic with a win today will continue their good run over Sydney United in the league. Home and away last season. They'd love a repeat of when they met at Belmore last season. The Olympic winning that one 6-0. Key tackle there from Armson. Gordon mixed up with Qual. So far, so good for the new centre-back partnership. Doesn't get any tougher than having to go up against one of New South Wales' best strikers, and that's Patrick Entelmi. Clark, so far, he's been the difference, though. Little magician. Well on track. But his team getting 3 points and him getting 3 points in the MVP race as well. I'm not in charge of that. This man, an outstanding first half, going up against Hatch. Making a nuisance of himself there, trying to win a corner, and he's giving away a free kick. 90 seconds of regular time to go here, of course. A couple stoppages. Sydney Olympic making a change after about 15 minutes. Of course, the 2 goals, so my guess is we'll probably get a couple minutes of added time. Sydney Olympic are cruising at the moment and well on track to big 3 points. It'd be their biggest, no doubt, because when you add that point deduction as well, they are sliding down the ladder. They came into this game in 12th position. Of course, with the squad that they have, proud fan base that they have as well, they will be wanting to compete in the finals. Thankfully for them, though, the gap between themselves in 12th and Manly in 6th is 6 points. So if they were to win today, they'd cut it to 3, and of course they have that game in hand against Central Coast Mariners, who currently sit in last position. Still plenty of football to be played here. De Oliveira, lovely feet. Finds Entelmi, and Qual does well to shut it down straight away. I don't want to give Patrick Entelmi a sniff, or even half a look at goal, and the ex-Western Sydney Wanderer and Central Coast Mariner did well in his new position today. Brought in at centre-back, and so far so good for him and his team. 45 minutes is up here. Get a goal, steal a goal right before half-time. And it'll be a case of starting to feel like deja vu, but in reverse. Sydney United, who led by 2 goals midweek. Gibson very vocal. And that Olympic goal urging his team forward. Wanting to play higher. Looping ball over the top, looking for Rule. Griffin does well. He's gotten better the longer this game has gone. Thrown into the fire after 15 minutes. And they went down his side straight away and nearly got the opening goal. He's growing into this game. Can Sydney Olympic preserve this 2-goal lead? United would love one right before half-time. Curling shot and tipped over the bar by Gibson once again. It was Aidan Milicevic. We've seen Gibson make a couple heroic saves. That one, maybe not as impressive as his one earlier in the half. Ridiculous point-blank save. Still important nevertheless. This could be the last action of the first half. Can United take a precious goal into the break? And that is it for the first half. A dream opening 45 minutes for the team in blue and white. They are looking not only for revenge for that Australia Cup defeat a few days ago, but they are looking to get their season back on track. They're well on their way to doing so. Goals to Seth Clark, who's been fantastic, as has the scorer of the second goal, Bailey Callahan, has put Olympic 45 minutes away from win number 5 of the season. Big 45 minutes coming up though, guys, so I highly recommend that if you're going to get a drink or a coffee, make sure it's an espresso.
If you've got to go to the bathroom, make sure it's the number 1, because we'll be back very shortly.
Well, if you wanted an encore from these two teams' Australia Cup epic from midweek, you got a very, very good first half. And Sydney Olympic, you got the complete reverse of what happened in that game. They found themselves 2-0 down there. They find themselves 2-0 up here at Jubilee. Goals to Seth Clark and Bailey Callahan have Olympic on their way to win number 5 of the season. Well and truly get them back on track, kickstart this season. Which, when they've looked good, Sydney Olympic, they have been scintillating. There have been a couple ugly defeats sprinkled in that 4-win, 4-draw and 4-loss start to season 2025. Put 5 past Sutherland, cruised past Mount Druitt, Popondetta Massacre. They put 4 past them and blitzed Spirit 3-0 when Spirit were red hot as well. So the wins, when they're on Sydney Olympic, and they were on in that opening half. But a loose pass gives United a chance to hit straight back. It's Leroy Jennings straight into the palms of Jack Gibson, who turns it away. And that is a warning to Sydney Olympic that they can't just sleepwalk through this second half, because it's a loose pass. It was pounced on by Mason Wells. He fed it out to lightning Leroy Jennings, and Fijian international hit it. A near post corner. Floated in, and it was Matty Hatch getting up there. Some tall timber there for both teams. So United have been shot out of a cannon in this second half here, looking to get their way back into the game. Go long looking for Cyrus Demi. The first half has been all about that man, and possessed once again. This time it was Whiffen who loses possession, and Wells finds his opposite winger. Wells drifting centrally, trying to make something happen, and may have been looking for Ada Milicevic, but wasn't on the same wavelength. Both teams making 2 changes, rotating their squad. They've played plenty of football, and so far the story has been Seth Clark, who did get on the score sheet midweek, has been a magician in the opening half here, and Sydney Olympic looking for win number 5. And if you believe in trends, Sydney United the last 5 weeks have gone win, loss, win, loss, win, last week most recently. So if you believe in trends, that would mean that they are due for a loss today. But they've got 42 minutes or so here to turn that trend on its head. With a win today, they would also jump into the top 6. Bailey Callahan, he was fantastic as well. Him and Gianni DiPizio, 2 changes. Olympic, they also shuffled the back line, moving Ten Quol into centre back, which we saw him do when he was at Western Sydney. So far, so good, but they've been under pressure to start this second half. Hatcher stayed forward. They go the other way. Tomalich. Rule. Lovely turn. For a second, it looked like Wells was going to get around Whiffen, but Thomas Whiffen was thrown on after 15 minutes, replacing Zach Zoricic, puts it out for a corner. Sydney United had a very positive start to this second half, and they're looking for a way back into the game. Another corner, this time floated into the back post. Initial header still there. Ziggy Gordon heads it out wide. Falls now to Demi, who's brought down, and Bailey Rule brings him down, and some of the Sydney Olympic players and their fans wanted the yellow card, but Eric Saba said the foul will do. Seen both teams cause problems with set pieces. It was corner taken short, though, which led to the opening goal. Seth Clark given time and space, and then he found a little bit of space when he was eventually closed down, and that was all he needed. And that man who was fouled there got the second goal, and it's put their team well on their way. Beautiful Saturday night here at Jubilee. Jubilee could be a good luck charm. Parkhouse. Whiffen's continued his run. Wells dived in. Floated into the back post looking for Callahan. Jennings bursting forward. He's got Antelmi up ahead of him. Not too much in support. Good tackle there by Armstrong, but it was unlucky because it fell straight back into the path of Jennings. Wells holds it up well for Rule. Quoll. Another key block there. Might still fall for Jennings, and Quoll does well to prevent that one for going out for a corner. Tan Quoll has been rock solid at centre back, as has Ziggy Gordon. Rule to take the throw. Olympic just happy to send this one out. This time it's Whiffen. The Dragons play here. That would be a good old-fashioned touch finder. And Antelmi with the turn. And he manages to get a shot away. And Patrick Antelmi just showing off his class there. Beautiful. Little body feint. Managed to find some space. And thankfully for Jack Gibson, who was diving, it was wide, and the feeling Adrian Vastalitza might have talked himself into the book. Or at least talked himself into maybe a final warning. Sydney United definitely made positive start to this second half. Definitely got the firepower to overcome this 2-goal deficit, and Sydney Olympic will be looking to put this game to bed. Whiffen has had his hands full for getting thrown on early in the first half, but he's grown the longer this game has gone. Ziggy Gordon's been as rock solid as ever. Armson bursting forward. He's got Callahan out wide. Here's Bailey Callahan. Will go up against Hatch. Sydney FC youngster full of confidence. Looks like he got around Hatch momentarily. He finds Parkhouse, who's looking for some space. He might have ran into a dead end, and he sends that one over for a goal kick. But lovely work. Bailey Callahan sat Matty Hatch down momentarily. It might be a little bit slippery. The Jubilee grass, it got a little watering courtesy of the heavens just as we were kicking off. Bit of drizzle as it stands. Perfect night for football. Perfect night if you're supporting the team in blue. Parkhouse holds the ball up. Whiffen bursting forward. He's got plenty of time to pick out a player, and he does! And it was so close to being 3-0. Thomas Whiffen did brilliantly there to pick out Callahan, and Bailey Callahan scored in the first half. And I tell you what, his goal, he's full of confidence but unable to find the back of the net that time. That chance may have been even easier than his goal, but here we go. They still might find that third. Demi, he's got Clark out ahead of him. Cyrus Demi, was it one touch too many? No, he manages to get the shot away, but it's blocked and out for a corner. Sydney Olympic, we saw this happen in the first half. United were turning the screws. It looked like they were going to score an Olympic. Wrestled back control in this game. This period of good attacking football is like the first half. We may see a goal. Lovely work And a minute ago from Whiffen. Picked out Callahan. Unable to steer his chance. Goalward. Seth Clark, this is very similar to the opening goal. This time he goes for the cross and ends up going out for a throw. Short corner once again. This time Sydney United were ready for it, preventing Clark from cutting in and curling the ball into the back of the net like he did in the first half. Whiffen to take the throw. Attempts to go long. It might fall here for Seth Clark. It may have hit Cyrus Demi. He was just trying to get out of the way, but falls now to Ziggy Gordon. Overhit. And well recovered, and now it's take two for Ziggy Gordon. He goes the short route this time for Hong. Chance for Sydney United now. Oh, bursting forward. They thought they won a foul. Referee disagrees. Sydney United can't believe it. They're going to have to pick themselves up as Seth Clark runs into Vastelitsa. That is going to draw a very fired up reaction from the Sydney United bench because they are adamant that they should have had a foul 30 seconds ago, and then they're going to feel extra hard done by after that. Sometimes football is just like beautiful theatre. You could see that one coming from a mile away. The second that whistle was blown, the bench just with an uproar. They all came up as one in unison. Absolutely filthy that they didn't get the free kick before and that they conceded one there. And it was Matt Hatch who stayed down. He's just made his way back up to his feet now. Picks himself up. And now he has to defend this free kick, which Tenquo will take. Loops it in. And away, it falls to DiPizio. Armson. Looking for the diagonal ball for Parkhouse. Another one of those goal scorers midweek. Came up with a key block in the first half. Making his impact felt at both ends of the pitch. Armson going to link up with his number 9. He gets it back, but then he's pinched. Jennings wanted to burst forward, but saw no one in front of him, so had to go back. Ball falls to DiPizio. It's ricocheting around like a pinball machine at the moment. One of these teams need to just put a foot on it. For Mason Wells, who looked dangerous, probably Sydney United's most likely in the opening half. Terrorised Olympic down that right-hand side on a couple of occasions, but at this stage, the minutes tick away here. Sydney Olympic getting closer and closer. 32 minutes to go, still plenty of time. Big, heavy challenge. Play might have to be stopped here. It will be. There was some heavy contact. Brave work there to win the header. So while play is stopped here, it was a nasty challenge. It was Brave. Play rightfully stopped. And United look like they're going to make a change. It's Stefan de Robillard getting ready to come on. De Robillard on for Mason Wells. The ex-MacArthur Bulls connection there. One ex-Bull off for another. And de Robillard on now as his team look to get a way back into this game. Of course, it was de Robillard's beautiful solo goal last week, which iced the game. He scored the second in that 2-0 win against Mount Druitt. They're going to need at least 2 here if they're to get something out of this game. Of course, they came into this game knowing that a win would put them into the top 6. Matt Hatch, who put his body on the line, back to his feet. Heavy challenge, and tell you what, he's been in the trenches. Thought he was fouled. That drew the uproar a few minutes ago, and then was slow to make his way to his feet and wore that one there, put his body on the line, and play back underway. And Matty Hatch is back on the field as well. So 11 v 11. Sydney United making a change. De Robillard on for Wells. United will be hoping that de Robillard can have the impact he had last week. Lovely solo run and left-hand side to ice that game. Sydney Olympic also have plenty of goal-scoring firepower on their bench. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz, who's started last week, dropped back to the bench, but that's where he's done his most damage, the super sub. Scored goals off the bench this season. He's on there. Michael Vakis as well. Of course, one of the last 2 remaining members of that 2022 Premiership winning team, Mr. Vakis, as is Sydney United's Michael Glassick. The Olympic are going to get back to the heights of a few years ago. 3 points is vital today, and they are 28 minutes away from doing so. Stalitza just sends that one into orbit. Good luck trying to deal with that. Ziggy Gordon puts his head on it. Parkhouse and Pizio returns the favour. Just a Prendergast, just a nice calming influence. And feels like with the stoppages, and Fizz has gone out of this game a little bit, which will definitely suit the home team. They won't care how they do it now. They would love a heart attack free last 28 minutes or so here with defending like that from Hong. Stalitza finds the ex-Olympic man, Classic. He has a bit of time. Looks for the long ball. Might sit up for Jennings. Quoll had to be careful there, and he was. Threw the boot out at that one, but got contact on the ball. Rule. Tell me. United looking for some space. Rule might have it with the cross. He does. It falls. They just can't get clean contact on it. Sydney Olympic do enough. And then it's the curling shot onto the post. Sydney United so close to getting back into this game. Beautiful curling effort. It was that cross which wasn't dealt with first time, and then it fell to United at the edge of the box, and they were agonizingly close to getting back into this game. Gibson to take the goal kick. He's been thrust into action a couple times, made a beautiful point-blank reaction save in the first half. Definitely putting to bed the ghosts of that missed penalty, which is very, very harsh to say. Go long once again. So far, Olympic done well dealing with that long ball too. Big centre back Ziggy Gordon and Ten Quoll have dealt with everything so far. Clark finds Demi. They wanted a foul, but they're going to play on. Cyrus Demi throws a step over, plays it out wide to Parkhouse. Can he find some space for the shot? And a third. Not that time. 25 minutes for Sydney United to get back into this game. They came very close a couple minutes ago. Aiden Milicevic rattling one off. Looked like that sweet spot where the post meets the crossbar. I'm just going to say woodwork. And if it was a couple inches to the right, it was curling into the top corner. And they are on the ball once again. They've been good in this second half. To be honest, they were good for a majority of the first as well. Just 2 goals in quick succession has them with a mountain to climb, but a goal here would help. Jennings, looping cross in. It falls to Matty Hatch, who puts it over the bar, and Gibson, in those Olympic goals, is going to be in no rush to take it. Gibson goes long. Demi's done a fantastic job holding the ball up. Vintage centre forwards performance from Olympics number 9 so far. The only thing missing is a goal, but his team will not care. A win was a must coming into this round 14 match of the round, and they're 24 minutes away from doing it, but United with urgency. Milicevic so close to getting their first goal. To Robillard. It's come on for Mason Wells, and then I think they've switched, so he is Classic. Along that time, but out, and just each misplaced pass and wayward shot is drawing an applause from the Sydney Olympic bench and their fans that have come to Cogra tonight. Going to be Whiffen to take the throw. Thrust into the action. Just joining us now. Olympic forced to make a sub inside 15 minutes, and he was fed to the wolves because he went down that right-hand side. Nearly found the opening goal seconds after that change. But the youngster who made the move over from the Czech Republic is growing into this game, and that's another great header. It's gotten better and better as this game's gone on. And Olympic are looking now for that killer third goal. Demi bursting forward. Cyrus Demi, was he fouled? Was it on the edge of the box? I think it may have been. It's a yellow card for the ex-Olympic man, Classic. I have a feeling that was right on the edge of the box, but Cyrus Demi brilliantly there, the big touch to take it away from the centre-back and wins his team a foul. He would have loved it maybe 15 centimetres further forward. He could have won a penalty, but it's going to be a free kick in a tantalising position here. Chakwal and Parkhouse stand over. Demi's slow to get to his feet. He's walking a little bit gingerly as well. Let's hope for his sake that he's okay, because very important to this team. Trying to replace the irreplaceable Roy O'Donovan. Leaves a sizable hole up front, but so far Cyrus Demi, 5 goals in the league, 5 goals in the cup. Been loving what they're seeing. And their new honorary Greek, Cyrus Demopoulos. He's on his way to his feet. Now he's hanging around the ball, so we got Demi, Parkhouse and Quol. And Parkhouse just looking to add a little bit of GST. The definition of the edge of the box. Demi, Quol or Parkhouse for Olympic. We approach 20 minutes to go here. That Jubilee Stadium. Shouts of Olympic ring out. It's been a great performance so far as they look to rebound from that cup heartbreak. Can they get the third goal, which may ice this game? It's going to be Cyrus Demi with the stutter step! Cyrus Demi with the cherry on top of a perfect Sydney Olympic performance so far. You're going to have to call him Cyrus Demopoulos after that one because they're going to make him an honorary Greek. A beautiful curling free kick by the man who won the free kick, was centimetres away from winning his team a penalty. Was a bit ginger to make his way back to his feet. And once he did, he stepped up, he shooed away Qual and Parkhouse and said, I started this and I'll finish it as well. And it has been a superb performance by Sydney Olympic, who are well on their way now to win number 5 in season 2025. Cyrus Demi, that is now 6 league goals for him, to go with 5 in the cup, 11 for the season for their new number 9. And it's Patrick Antelmi who comes off. Leg heavily strapped as well, so that could be a case of United saying we'll live to fight another day and let's just preserve our players. It's a long season ahead. No team knows that better than Sydney United, who are capable of finals upsets, and of course the kings of the Australia Cup as well. Well, it was a mountain to climb for Sydney United. It's just become Everest. 3 goals, 18 minutes to go. Luke Zavella has come on now in place of Patrick Antelmi. Football, it's all about moments. That Adam Milicevic shot curls maybe 10 centimetres lower, and you probably get the outcome that we saw for that third goal, and it hits the underside of the crossbar and goes in. All of a sudden, it's 2-1. It's a totally different game. But rattled off the post. And then on the counter-attack, Demi wins the free kick and curls it in, does it all himself. That goal is going to get replayed and given the socials treatment, clipped up and distributed all over New South Wales. What a gorgeous free kick. Rule. Jennings going for the same ball. Here is Leroy Jennings. Back there is DiPizio. He's been very solid as well, and have to call it what it is after 73 minutes. Managerial masterclass from Abano Halidi so far, making 2 changes, and they've both made profound impact on this game. DiPizio's been as solid as ever, just like he showed in that tackle, and Andy Callahan, scorer of the second goal, could add a third, or Olympics third, I should say. Rule heads it across goal. It won't matter anyway because he is offside. Looking ahead for these teams, it's a reunion for Jack Armson as Olympic travel to Lambert to take on his former team, Apia. It'll be a fantastic game. That's next Sunday, 3 o'clock. Sydney United playing at the same time. They'll be back at home and they take on St. George City, who are getting their season back on track as well after a very shaky start by the standards that they've set since coming up to the top tier of New South Wales NPL football for the first time in 2023. Here is DiPizio. Lovely work. Clark, who was fantastic in the first half, maybe taking a back seat to Cyrus Demi after that third goal. Nothing Tristan Prendergast could do about that third. Wowee, that was as good as it gets. And I tell you what, I think then he might have a chance at an encore here because Clark is fouled. Not as edge of the box as the previous one, but still well within Mr. Demopoulos' range. Will we see an encore? This would be even more impressive. Well, this time it looks like Demi said, one's enough for me. It's going to be 10 qual to take this one. This would surely ice it. It's 10 qual. Tell you what, it looked good off the boot once again, but that one curled wide, and it's going to be a double change here for Sydney United. Liam McGing and Tariq Mayer coming on. Two very handy players to have on your bench thrown on now to see out the rest of the game. Aidan Milicevic so close, rattling the woodwork. And Anthony Tomilic, so the two ins ahead of kickoff have now made way. And this just follows the trend of Sydney Olympic wins this season. As I said earlier in the game, but when they are good, they have been sensational. This looks like it's going to be another one of those wins. Seth Clark manages to pinch the ball back for his team. Cyrus Demi, can he get a double? Not that time. Goes back to Clark. He deserves a double, and he gets it! The Kiwi magician makes it 4, and it is now a Sydney Olympic demolition here at Jubilee. Just when it looked like Cyrus Demi might make a claim at the man of the match, the Kiwi magician, who absolutely took over the first half, now has his second and Olympics fourth. Seth Clark has a double. He also is his fourth goal of the season, to go with 3 in the cup as well. So the Kiwi magician in goal-scoring form since making the move over in the northern New South Wales NPL. Just into life very well here in Belmore and Cogra for tonight. This team's going to have to get used to playing a Cogra as well. This definitely make it feel like a good luck charm. This will be their home for the Australia Championship, the second division. Rule is now purely in consolation territory unless we get an outrageous comeback. There wouldn't be a word fitting for it. Everest, Istanbul, think of every comeback buzzword you could think of. And I mentioned, surely we're not going to see shades of when they met at Belmore last season, but it's shaping up that way. 6-0 was the scoreline when these teams met at Belmore. 4-0 here, still plenty of football to be played. Meyer does well to stay on his feet, and shot sprayed wide there. It's going to be a double change for Sydney Olympic. Michael Vacas coming on, as is Dylan Ruiz-Diaz. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz has made a habit of scoring off the bench this season. Seth Clark draws a round of applause from the Olympic faithful here at Jubilee Stadium. The Kiwi magician has absolutely dominated this game. Everything he has touched tonight has turned into gold, and his double has sent his team well on its way. And don't let that also take the limelight away from Bailey Callahan, who's coming off as well. He was also brilliant into the team for Dylan Ruiz-Diaz and rewarding his manager's faith with a goal. Luis Diaz, lovely. Little chop there to make space. Here he is once again. All of a sudden, that's just the beautiful thing of what a win can do. A win here means that the gap between 6th place Manly and Sydney Olympic is just 3 points. Olympic still with a game to play, so the season sliding dangerously, but now all of a sudden a win. These things looking promising in Belmore and Cogra. Back is dispossessed there. Beautiful run. Tanquol gives away the foul. You can't believe it. Is it a chance now for Sydney United to return the favour, and we'll see some free kick heroics from then. Vastelitza's shaping up to take this one. Surely not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the wall for Sydney Olympic as they look to preserve a clean sheet. Will we see another highlight reel free kick in this game? We've already seen one. Will we see another? Not that time. It did take a deflection. Goes out for a corner. Tariq Mayer does have one goal this season. Got it against his former club. Unable to give us a repeat of what we saw from Cyrus Demi. Robillard to take the corner now. Here is Mayer. Almost identical spot to Seth Clark. Got the opening goal. Short corner in that exact position. Demi still full of energy. Switch for Jennings. He hasn't stopped all game, even now that the task looks like it's impossible. It's still full here. Oh, Meyer able to get his shot through a sea of bodies, and it almost looked like it was going to fall for Cyrus Demi, and everything he's touching is turning to gold as well. Out wide looking for Rule, and we've seen Parkhouse do that a couple times. Not the misplaced pass, I was going to say getting back and helping his team defensively. Lovely little back heel from Meyer, finds Rule. Meyer's still there at the edge of the box. It's with Bailey Rule, and Jack Gibson claims that one. And let some more precious seconds tick off the clock. Quo. Armson. Beautiful. Switch. Just might be undone by the bounce, and it's another one of those awkward bouncing balls. That's a nasty one again. Referee stops play straight away. Switch that off the boot, it looked nice, but it's an awkward one when it starts bouncing. Two players jumping for the bouncing ball, and stayed down here for Sydney United. Olympic are going to get ready to make another change. It's going to be Marcus Papadimitriou coming on now. Seems to have a little Marcus fan club here at Jubilee Stadium. They're excited to see the youngster come on, and going to have to wait a couple more seconds as just wait for him to get back to his feet. Coming on in number 39, making his first grade debut for Sydney Olympic, Marcus Papadimitriou. Congratulations, young man. He replaces Adam Parkhouse, causing havoc down that left-hand side, but also chipping in with some key blocks and helping out his team defensively. So he makes way, the youngster in number 39, making his first grade debut. I wish him all the best and hopefully the first of many. Long looking for Leroy Jennings. Doesn't matter what side he's played on. He's been full of energy, but going to be to no avail tonight. As we approach the halfway stage of the season, both these teams, of course, would have come into this season expecting to be making finals. United looking to continue from last season where they made a great run to the finals, knocked out Apia. The second week of the finals, they'll be looking to go better, and Sydney Olympic looking to get back into the finals. Been disappointing a couple of seasons since that 2022 Premiership glory, of course. Ended up going down to eventual champions Blacktown. And I say this every time I commentate Sydney Olympic, but they would have loved the first past the post rule, which came into effect in 2023, to be in when they won the Premier's Plate in 2022. Foul here for Sydney United. 3.5 minutes to go. Leroy Jennings hasn't stopped. Doesn't matter the scoreline from minute 1. Lightning Leroy. Still full of energy as his team looks now for what would purely be consolation, and young Marcus Papadimitriou on his first grade debut, called into the wall by his goalkeeper, Jack Gibson. It's going to be Tariq Mayo, who's been good since coming on. He's looked lively. Olympic looking to preserve that clean sheet. It's a great ball. Given away by Tanquol, and then it might drop on. Tell you what, Jack Gibson tipped that one over the bar. It looked like it was flying over the crossbar, and then it nearly dropped in. Robillard will take it. This is purely consolation time now. Damage limitation, of course, goal difference will be very, very important as we approach the business end of the season. Gibson was a full stretch. Ends up going over his head. Of course, still plenty of football to be played. We're nowhere near the business end yet. Next week, it's round 15 of 30. Again. Meyer. Foul given away, and this game just fizzled out a little bit, as you'd expect. Olympic cruising now, and I think Sydney United will just want to hear that full-time whistle. Head back home, which is where they will be next week, Sunday afternoon in St. George City. Again on the ball now, Bastalitza. Papadimitriou, good interception. It's Dylan Ruiz-Diaz. One of the best names in the NPL, Ruiz-Diaz. Love to add another goal to his tally. Foul given away there. Eric Saba. Done a good job controlling this game so far. Sydney Olympic a couple minutes away from win number 5, and also getting revenge. 6 goals we saw midweek in the Australia Cup. We got 4 tonight, but all from the team in blue. Shouts of handball. Meyer. last week against Apia. Sunday afternoon is going to be a cracker at Lambert. Jack Armson taking on his former team. Cramp setting in now. So the Olympic got revenge. 3 points was a must today. Back-to-back heavy defeats. Thomas Whiffen probably thought he drove in today, or maybe he got a lift to Cogra. Come on, 20 minutes to go. Thrust into the action, replacing Zach Zoricic after 15 minutes. Getting a bit of pickle juice there. Looping corner. Not dealt with initially. Still there for United. To Robillard. Lovely turn. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz had to be perfect with the slide tackle, and he was. It's all been one-way sailing for Olympic. As I mentioned, they're going to have to defend this corner as well. That man gave away the corner. First half change after 15 minutes. Throws a game plan on its head when you have to do something like that. They weathered the storm, and then the scoring of first, they scored a second, not even 90 seconds after. Set them well on their way. The 90 minutes is up here at Jubilee. Second ball, it's back in. Olympic want to preserve this clean sheet. Deal with that corner. Now they look to break. Vakis. Olympic bursting forward. Oh, the pass was slightly mishit. Papadimitriou was in a bit of space there. What a cherry on top of a perfect performance that would have been if the youngster on his first grade debut could have got their fifth. Olympic in no rush to take this one. Well, Sydney United will definitely be back in season 2025. They have another chance to go on a run in the Australia Cup, of course. They did that at the expense of their opponents today, but the Olympic have dished out some revenge and dished it out ice cold tonight as well, to the tune, this stage, of 4 goals to nil. Seth Clark, Kiwi magician, he's double. I don't do the 3-2-1, but I have a feeling he will be a huge, huge shout. Be hard to deny him the 3 points. Cyrus Demi's free kick. Definitely get the highlight reel treatment across our socials. Haley Callahan chipping in for a goal as well in the first half. Rewarding his manager's faith and maybe making a case to start more regularly. The ex-Sydney FC youngster. Sydney United have had their chances in this game, denied by great point-blank reaction save from Jack Gibson. The woodwork denying them there. Will they be denied this time? It's ricocheting around like a pinball machine. If these teams want a whistle, they do eventually get it. It's going to be a free kick. It's a delayed one. This game has reached stage where both these teams want the full-time whistle. It's going to be a resounding Sydney Olympic victory. Will it come with a clean sheet? Going to have to hold out this free kick. Meyer whips it in. It's a good ball. Visit back across goal, and it's a great low save by Gibson, and then cleared off the line. And that sums up this Sydney Olympic performance today. Hanging on until the end, preserving the clean sheet that they deserve. Another beautiful ball from Tariq Meyer. Headed across goal. Great initial save by Gibson, and then the rebound cleared off the line. Meyer's been good. Thrown on with the game well and truly over. He's looked the most likely. Can he be the provider? In the Olympic, though, as you just saw, want to hang on to this clean sheet for dear life. Meyer's corner. It's another good one, and it's another free header, but unable to steer it goalward, and that is that. Sydney Olympic exact revenge for that Australia Cup heartbreak, and they dish it out to the tune of 4-0. Seth Clark was the star today with a double. He was pulling the strings. They couldn't handle him, but the highlight of the game, a beautiful curling free kick from Cyrus Demi, which put the game to bed. Sydney Olympic get a much-needed win, and all of a sudden their season is back on track. Still plenty of football for both these great, iconic Australian football clubs to be played. But at the end of this one, on our round 14 match of the round, it's finished here at Jubilee Stadium. Sydney Olympic 4, Sydney United 0.